Hi, I'm Joe Burgo. I'm a clinical psychologist, and this is the first video I'm going to do in a series about psychodynamic psychotherapy and what to expect. If you've seen any of my other videos here on YouTube, I was usually talking from a teleprompter and a script that was written, and I thought it came across as kind of stiff, not really what I'm like. So this time I'm going to try and deliver what I have to say as if I were talking to you, someone who is considering coming to me for therapy. Maybe you saw my video about online psychotherapy and you decided you wanted to give it a try. So you've made an appointment and you're getting ready to come, and what should you expect? Well, the first thing is you're going to be anxious. You're in pain, you're confused to start with, otherwise you wouldn't be looking to get treatment. But more to the point is you're about to open yourself to somebody who's a complete stranger to you, somebody you've never met, and you have no idea what I'm like, whether or not I'm a safe person. You just don't know. So being anxious under those circumstances makes perfect sense, and you should just accept that you're going to feel that way. You should also know that I'm going to feel a little bit anxious myself. It's nothing like the way I used to feel when I first started practicing, when I, was worried about whether or not I'd be able to make it as a therapist, and if I had what it took. After 30 years I feel pretty comfortable about that, but still, I don't know you either. I don't know what you're like and what's going to happen and whether or not I will have anything to offer. You're coming to me for a service, you're paying for a service, and I feel some anxiety to prove to you that I'm worth it. So we're both a little bit anxious, and it's part of my job in the first session to manage that anxiety. And the way that I will do that largely is by asking a lot of questions. Most clinics, most therapists have some kind of an intake form. I've got a new client questionnaire that I ask you to fill out before you make an appointment. And I'll use that as a basis for asking a lot of structured questions. Usually there's something in the intake form that will have caught my attention, and I'll want to go into it deeper. Like everybody, I want to make sure you're safe. I don't want you to be, at risk of injuring yourself or committing suicide. But beyond that, I'm really going to want to know a couple of things. What's the main reason that brought you in? Right now, are you in crisis? What's the source of your pain? I'm also going to want to know if you've had therapy before, because that way it gives me an idea of your level of experience, what you already know, how informed your point of view is, and also maybe something went wrong with your prior therapy. Maybe you've had bad experiences with other therapists. So I'm going to want to find out about all of that. Now, I'm asking a lot of questions, and you might feel that because I'm the authority that you can't ask a lot of questions, but you should feel free to ask questions. This is your chance to find out anything you don't already know about my background, my training, how much experience I've had. Unfortunately, the questions that you're probably going to want the answers to the most are the ones that I can't answer, like what's going to happen, how long will this take, what can I do right now. All of this takes a long time. It's going to take me a long time to get to know you. Therapy isn't a fast process, and I don't have a worked out treatment plan like, say, a cognitive behaviorist would. I don't have a schedule or a structure for how things will go. Kind of, it unfolds. But hopefully, in the first session, you'll get a feeling of some kind of comfort or trust. You'll probably still feel anxious, but you should get a sense that you're with somebody who's listening to you, who can empathize with how you're feeling, and who has something to say. Maybe I'll put things in a way you hadn't thought of before. I'll get you to look at yourself in a different way. Hopefully I'll have something new to add in the session. Then towards the end of the session, I'm going to say something like, well, where do you want to go from here? What would you like to do next? Do you want to schedule another session? And if you're not sure, you should feel free to say, can I think about it and get back to you? There's no reason to commit right away. It's a really important step you're taking. It's an important relationship. You know, if you're not comfortable, if you have major doubts, you know, just say, I'll get back to you. If you do want to schedule a session, then I'll talk with you about times. We'll try and find a time that works for both of us. It's important to have a regular session time, you know, that we can count on week after week. My policies and procedures are pretty much outlined in my disclosure statement, so I'm not going to go over those with you. And then, at the end of the session, I'm going to say something like, okay, let's stop there, or our time's just about up. So I think my time's just about up with this video, so I'm just going to stop there and say thanks for watching. In the next video, I'll talk about the early weeks in psychotherapy and what to expect then. Thanks.